It had been a day of gardening. Katy found out that when you dig in the soil, worms try to hurry away. Orby learned that even though the birds don't like it, Chance loves to play tag with them. And they both discovered flowers catch dewdrops on their petals. Charisse was staying over at Katy and Orby's house for a visit. The whole family and their wonderful guest were helping Mom in the garden. Dad was mowing the lawn. When Mom came to a beautiful plant with white petals and yellow centers, she explained that they were daisies. The daisies were growing so fast they were crowding out some of the other flowers in the garden. She picked up her garden scissors and clipped some of them back. With delight, she told the friends that they would make daisy chains with the flowers. Nobody knew exactly what daisy chains were, but as Mom picked up all the cut daisies and headed for the big lawn chair, they followed, eager to find out. Dad turned the lawnmower on. He told them he was thirsty and would bring everybody some cranberry apple juice. Sitting on the lawn chair, Mom threaded one daisy stem through another and soon created a chain. Mom placed Katy's and Charisse's finished daisy circlets on their heads. The two girls looked at each other, admiring the ring of daisies. They looked like fairy flower crowns. Mom made a longer one for Orby and hung it around his neck. He looked fabulous. As they drank their juice, Charisse, Katy, and Orby all felt very magical with their daisy chains on. The little twinkle in Katy's eye sparkled as she asked her friends if they felt like a game of garden fairies. And I guess you know that both friends did. With a leap, Katy was up and off the lawn chair, and she disappeared into the house, daisies and all. When she raced out the back door again, she was holding three beautiful, filmy, sparkly sets of wings with golden ribbon ties. With the wings, they would look like real fairies. Mom and Dad tied the wings on each friend. Charisse had to sit forward a bit, but Mom flattened the wings so that they stuck out on each side of her and she could sit back. Katy thought Charisse looked like a fairy queen, and that's how the game got started. They all decided that Fairy Queen Charisse was very lonely. She lived in her castle with no one to play with. She was a very magical fairy queen, and to keep the magic in her kingdom, she had to sit on her throne all day. If she left the throne, the magic of the kingdom would disappear. The throne sat on top of a fairy hill, and the queen looked out over her beautiful land. Fairy Katy suggested that the queen watch Katy and Orby play a fairy game. The queen looked at the fairy game with great curiosity. She'd never played one herself. She called out to ask about it, but the two fairies were shy and ran away and hid. Orby burbled to Fairy Katy in a loud voice that he really wanted to meet and play with the queen, but he thought she was too important, sitting on her throne all day doing queen things. When the queen saw the others run away, she sighed a great sigh and began to sob pretend tears because she was very lonely. Katy giggled because she thought Charisse was funny. Charisse giggled too, but she tried not to. And to cheer herself up, the queen announced that she would now sing an exquisite fairy song. Her beautiful voice spread out over the fairy kingdom. The song and the queen's voice were so magical that the two fairies came out of hiding and danced a wild, magical dance. Orby grabbed Katy and whirled her around and then leapt and kicked up his feet. Queen Charisse clapped with glee when the dance was finished and then beckoned the two fairies over. Well, Orby pretended to be really afraid. He shook his knees so much that Katy fell over laughing. Queen Charisse told the others that she loved their dancing, but it made her sad because she wasn't allowed to dance herself. She had to sit in her throne all day and was not allowed to get up. Orby tooted to the queen that he knew she couldn't get off the throne. But he also knew she could dance. The queen wondered what Orby meant. He burbled that all it took was a little fairy magic. With that, Orby did a crazy belly dance and shook one foot and the other and wiggled as he bopped closer to the fairy queen. He spun 3 times and burbled, "Pick sniggly, bick sniggly, boop bop de doo." As he said it, he flipped off Cherise's wheelchair brake and spun her around in a circle and right into a magical daisy dance. Cherise squealed with laughter. Soon she was dancing herself and singing at the same time. At the end of the dance, Orby jiggled over to the table and picked up Cherise's glass of juice. He knelt down in front of her. You do that with queens. And he presented the drink to her. From behind his back, he pulled out a beautiful bouquet of daisies and laid them in her lap. Katie brought the other juices over, and Cherise picked up a daisy, tapped each drink, and declared it a magical daisy drink. They clinked glasses like Mom and Dad did sometimes, and together declared that they would always be friends. Next, they raised the glasses up high, then took a sip. Orby pretended that the drink was so magical, he melted to the ground, then did a flip-up. Katie and Cherise by now had tummy pain from so much laughing. Katie announced that the day was possibly the silliest day ever. The queen will always be able to laugh at Fairy Orby when she remembered it. Cherise nodded it was true. And do you know that to this very day, all 3 friends remember the magical garden fairies and the ridiculous fairy dance? It still makes little tears come out of Cherise's eyes when she thinks of it. And I hope that you collect all kinds of daisy days and daisy friends so you can remember them when you grow up. They may just make you laugh, too. Just like Cherise and Katie and Orby.
To make a hand puppet is a small paper bag and some crayons. Take the bag like this. Draw eyes, a nose, and maybe some hair. Lift the little flap, draw the mouth, put your hand in, and you've got a puppet that may even look like your best friend.